All right. Hi, everyone. A very good evening to all of you. And welcome back once again to these free Shiksha IELTS classes. So, today, guys, it's the last day of November and it's the last day for our class as well for this month. And most probably, we'll be coming up with new and fresh set of classes in the upcoming months. So today we are focusing on the IELTS speaking module. So yesterday we started with the speaking module, but we only covered the first part. So today we are going to quickly focus on part 2 of IELTS speaking, that is Q card, and part 3, which is discussion with the examiner task. Okay. So one by one, I'll be taking you through the PPTs which I have prepared for you. So first we are starting with the Q card, which is your second part of IELTS speaking test. And if you have any questions, please keep it to yourself for the end of the session. If you have any doubt, you can ask me live here on the comment section. And still, if you want to put up your issues, you can still write it on the comment section, but I will be only able to answer it once I finish with the session, so that there is no break in the flow of the session. All right, so coming back to the PPT, guys, and before we actually start with the class, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as I always say, which is with the same name, Shiksha Study Abroad. As you can see the logo also just on the right hand corner of the slide. And also we have a registration link in the description below. Please do register with us because you can avail few perks like downloading free sample papers, getting free counseling sessions, and much more. Okay, so these were just two of them. So coming back to the slide, guys, the speaking test is the same for both IELTS academic and IELTS general training. So far we know that, right? And it always involves a face-to-face interview with a certified IELTS examiner, regardless of whether you take the paper-based test or the computer-based version of the test. Now, the format is total time. That is, part 2 will, remain for about 3 to 4 minutes. The examiner will give you a cue card, which is also known as the task card, okay, which will have a topic written on it. It will also have 3 to 5 bullet points telling you what to include in your talk. And you will be given 1 minute for preparation, during which you are allowed to make notes. So you will be asked to speak on this topic for about 2 minutes. So guys, 1 minute is given to you for preparation on this particular topic which is given to you, and total of 2 minutes is given to you for speaking on that topic. Now the examiner will probably ask you 1 or 2 questions more about that topic which you're given, and 5 reasons people don't do well in IELTS speaking part 2. What are those 5 reasons? Obviously, you need to be able to use the English language effectively and competently, and to show the skill in four key skills on which you'll be assessed. So what are those 4 parameters on the basis of which you will be evaluated? Those are fluency and coherence. That is the first one. Then second, we have lexical resources, or which is also known as vocabulary. Third, grammar. And fourth, pronunciation. So each of these holds 25% of the marks. Please remember that. Now, however, there are 5 things that frequently result in candidates getting a far lower score that they're capable of, and that they have little to do with their language ability. The problems are that they don't speak for full 2 minutes. That is the one condition why they fail. And second is they run out of things to say. That means they lack the ideas. Third is have an unstructured talk. That means their talk or the conversation which they're having with the examiner is not organized. Fourth is read their notes rather than speak naturally. So once you have prepared the notes in part 2 in that 1 minute of time, please do not copy paste the words from there. Try to take help from those notes, but please do not memorize and just copy paste it. You need to form structured sentences in order to gain bands. Fifth point can be they panic because they think they know nothing about the topic. So even if you know nothing about the topic, please revolve around it somehow, because you cannot be silent, as your voice is being recorded and it is listened to. It is evaluated by the examiners again for the second time, because your audio goes to British Council or IDP from wherever you're booking your exam. So please do not be silent during those 15 minutes of IELTS speaking test. All the 3 parts I'm talking about, especially in part 2, because your voice is being recorded and there cannot be any silent. Now, how long to speak for? A common question for students is do I have to talk for exactly 2 minutes? The simple answer is no. Keep talking until the examiner stops you, which will be around 2 minutes. So if you stop before 1 minute 40 or 1 minute 50 seconds, this will probably affect your score as you may lose marks for fluency and coherence. Why people finish early? Why they finish speaking early? They do not have much to say about the topic. It's because they have run out of things to say. The reason is that they don't know what else to say, is generally that they haven't used their 1 minute planning time wisely. This is most likely because they don't have a good planning strategy, maybe, or poor planning leads to an unstructured answer with ideas popping up all over the place and not really tying together. So, this can be one of the reasons. Then, reading out notes. Another classic mistake which the candidates make is to read out their notes rather than talking naturally. This has several consequences. So, if you read out your notes, your speech will sound like reading, not speaking. It will have unnatural fluency, sentence stress, and pronunciation. This will not please the examiner. That means it will not impress them because you're just reading it out, you're not saying it naturally. They're there to test your speaking skills and not your reading ability. So focusing too closely on your notes while speaking may also cause you to move quickly from one bullet to the next without developing your ideas, and you're likely to reach the end with lots of time still to go and nothing more to say. So use your notes as a guide only. Now, don't panic. Don't be that candidate who completely wastes their, planning time because they're convinced that they don't know anything about the subject they've been asked to talk about and go into brain meltdown. Most topics are related to everyday life and common experiences. I guarantee that I could ask you about any subject in these categories and you could tell me at least three or four things that you know about it, even if the topic was something you believed you knew nothing about. So, three or four things are enough to create an answer. Now, this is the sample example, guys, which I have prepared for you. So, the example cue card can look like this. You will get something like this. The topic might be different, but the structure and the format of the question would be same. You will be asked something to describe something healthy you enjoy doing. So this is the topic, and you should say. So these are the few bullet points which you should include in your answer. So what you do, when you do it, who you do it with, and explain why you think doing this is healthy. And then there is a sample answer also given to you. I have actually bifurcated and divided the answer into several categories so that you can understand, like, what else to talk about, and then describe a favorite photograph or, favorite city or a city which you have visited. So, something like this might come in your exam. Then we have another example topic like talk about an older person you admire, and then there are lots of bullet points to be covered. So yes, so guys, there are many notes given in between, important notes that have been highlighted and bolded in black. So please do read them in detail. Practice using more detailed notes. So I have given in each and every detail how you can actually form your answer and how actually you can cover up those 2 minutes in your cue card session. So yes, and then I have at last few sample questions which you can actually prepare from, because these are few of the latest ones. But yes, if you want to go through more sample papers and more questions like these, please do visit our site. Please follow our YouTube page and also register with us, because then it will directly take you to our landing page where we have lots of free download sample papers which you can downloadable sample papers which you can actually download from our site. So yes, now I'll come to your part 3, which is the last part of your IELTS speaking test. So this part is also known as discussion questions with the examiner, because here in this part you actually discuss in detail all the questions and answers which have been asked to you, and you have to elaborate and give it an explanation form. So yes, in part 3 you have the opportunity to discuss topic areas and related to part 2, which is in more depth. So always remember, whatever topic was given to you in part 2, The questions in part 3 will be related to that. So, guys, this part of the test focuses on your ability to express and justify opinions and to analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. The examiner will help you to do this by asking you questions that explore the topic area in more depth. So the long term topic is always related to the part 3 topic area. For example, if your long term topic is about your teacher, then third part can be a general discussion about education. So this is how the actual bifurcation is done. So for example, I have also prepared a small table for you, and there are few examples. For example, on the left hand side, part 2 long term and possible part 3 topic areas. So what can be the topic areas in part 3 related to your part 2 topic? For example, if you got something like this in part 2, something you own that is important to you, you have to talk about it for 2 minutes. That is your cue card. And then the part 3 questions might be related to belongings, shopping, advertising, values, and all of that. Then we can also have a topic like this third one, an item you would like to buy, talk about it. Okay, so you talked about it for 2 minutes, and then there are questions related to shopping, advertising, online shopping, consumerism, manufacturing, and clothing. So this is how the relation of the questions is like, in part 3 and part 2. So tips for IELTS speaking part 3. So tips are very important because generally in part 3, you get stuck because you do not know what to give example for, or how can you actually elaborate the topic. So here are a few of the tips. So speak about the topics in general. In part 3, you are expected to discuss all the topics in a general manner. If you try and talk about yourself and your family, the examiner will steer you away from these familiar topics and will encourage you to speak in a general way. So remember that you have already talked about familiar topics in part 1 and part 2. So part 3 is your chance to show the examiner that you can discuss general topics, giving your own opinion and ideas on what is being discussed. So this is what is motto of, or the motive of asking questions in part 3. So rather than talking about yourself, you can use and you can talk about the following phrases to extend the discussion in a more general way. So what can be the phrases which you can actually use according to your own requirement of the question? For example, if the questions are related to country and particularly India, then maybe you can start or use a sentence in between. In my country, most people believe that, and then in a generalized way you can start, and then maybe you can come to more specific area of your answer. If I compare my country to Australia, the way we farm, travel, work, eat, celebrate is quite different. And then so on. So I have given you a few phrases which you can actually make it, in a usable form and actually get help from in your part 3 answers. Then use linking words and phrases. So, guys, linking words is very important. As we mentioned in our article on discourse markers, we use words and phrases to connect ideas and to express how we feel about what we are saying. So, we also use them to organize and manage what we are saying and to help us think about what to say next, using fillers correctly to sound natural in our delivery. Okay, so try to avoid meaningless fillers. For example, or as they show that you cannot find words or language needed to discuss the topic. Now, next is sequencing or ordering information. So, to begin with, moving on to the next reason, secondly, thirdly, all of these can be used as a sequence, or while, you know, putting your answer in order. This is how you can actually use these kind of linking phrases. If you're adding information, then you can use words like also, and, besides, additionally, and so on, indicating opinion and attitude. Unfortunately, however, actually, to be honest, all these are the words. Comparing and contrasting, again, these kind of words, examples, stalling, generalizing, and result. So, guys, I have given you a lot and lot of words and phrases to practice from. So, you can actually pick up it from here And if you want to come back and rewatch the video, it will be a very good idea, because you can note down the phrases and the words which I have given you in the PPT, or either you can take screenshots, whatever is comfortable for you, and try learning few of them and imitating them in your practice sessions, so that you become a pro when you actually enter the IELTS speaking examination center. And you will always be very fluent once you actually memorize few of them, because then they will naturally come in your speech, right? Now next step is use a wider range of grammar. So if you can keep speaking about a topic, this shows that you have access to a wide range of vocabulary and the grammatical structures needed to express yourself. So when you have to use some of the functions above, it is important that you can match the function with appropriate grammatical structures. For example, describing the situation in your country, present, perfect, and past. So do use, mixed of these sentences, especially the perfect tenses actually give a lot good impression to the examiner, because perfect tenses are actually known to be the higher level of English language in grammar, especially in tenses. So yes, if you think from that perspective, and if you're using perfect tenses, for example, has, have, had, in your speech while talking to the examiner, then the examiner would feel that yes, you have a wider range of vocabulary and grammar. Because perfect tenses are not easy to use. Many of the candidates do make mistake while using has, have, had in their conversation. Next is thinking about the future. So you can use conditionals. That means starting your sentences with if, and if you're talking about future in particular, then you can go with the words like will, going to. Then you can also use modal verbs like may, might, could, should, can, all of these words. Then suggesting solutions. So again, while suggesting solutions, you can use conditionals, that is starting with if and modal verbs. Comparing and contrasting, in that we can give the comparative structures. Now, use a wider range of vocabulary. That means, especially if you're giving an opinion or expressing opinion or belief of yours, there are few phrases which I have prepared for you. I'm sure most of you will get a lot help from here, because I have seen, candidates struggling while giving their own opinion. So yes, a beautiful phrase like I reckon or I feel. So guys, actually, before using these words and phrases, please do take out the meaning of them, and please get to know their meanings and their usage, because many of the words in English language, they have different meanings and they have different usage in the context of the sentence. So please do look out for that before actually using it in front of the examiner. And if you want to go with the easy ones, that is again your choice. But just remember, the more simpler the sentences, the more simple will be the bands, to be honest. And if you're using good words, a good range of vocabulary as well as grammatical structures in your sentences, then the bands would vary according to that. So please do remember that. And to repeat a statement, if you want to repeat something, this is what you can do. You can actually use many of these phrases, any of one, out of these. For example, let me put it in this or another way, and then you can continue with your sentence, whatever you were going to say. Giving an example, then giving an explanation, asking for help, asking for an explanation, agreeing with an opinion. And then if you are disagreeing with an opinion, again, I have few phrases for you. For self-correcting also, I have phrases for you. Then we can also use few phrases while, buying some time or stalling for time. That means maybe you are not getting clicked with an answer just spontaneously as soon as the question finishes and you do not have something to say. So this is what you can do by using these phrases which you have in front of you right now. You can actually, cover up a time, cover up some span of time, just to give yourself some time to think about that particular topic. So for example, somebody has asked you, or the examiner has asked you about the education part in India, and you do not really know what to say about Indian education, then definitely you can say something like, that's an interesting question, or that's a difficult question, but yes, I would like to start it with, and then you can continue. Or maybe you can say, I have never really thought about it, but, and then continue. So what happens is, when you're saying such phrases, you are giving yourself some time to think about the actual topic which has been asked to you, and there is no gap in between, there is no silence in between, and that does not cut your marks or bands as well. So you are in a safer place while you're using these sentences. But it's not necessary to use it in every answer. Please do not do that, because then it would look like a scripted or a learned by heart kind of script, and we do not want to show that to the examiner. We want to sound natural. So please use it only when it's necessary, or when you need some time to actually think about that topic. Okay, that's the biggest tip here for this particular stalling for time task. Now, commenting on your own ideas, of course, there are certain phrases related to that as well, getting to the point. So we have many, phrases like that. Then I have few questions also for part 3. Just for your practice, we have lots of the questions on our landing page. So please do not forget to register with us, because through that you can actually get to practice a lot of questions, not just from part 3, but from part 1 and part 2 as well. We have a lot of free downloadable, sample papers, which you can download for free. And of course, let's come back to the slide, guys. So I'll show you just 1 or 2 questions. For example, if you're talking about sports and competition, then the first question is, why are some sports fans so passionate? So we have, many categories of sports fans. Some are less passionate, some are more. So you can actually divide your answer in both of these categories, and then you can come up with maybe a major example of football or cricket or whatever sport you're talking about in particular. Although you do not have to be specific while talking about any sports, you have to talk in general about the sports fans. And once you have completed speaking about sports fans, why some of them are so passionate, give your reasons, give your ideas, elaborate them, and then maybe end your answer with an example of, and just try to give a globalized example so that it's more popular, it's more renowned, and the examiner can also relate to that. Because the more globalized and renowned and popular examples you give, the more bands you actually tend to get. Okay, so just remember that. Now, next is all right, so we'll take one question from family. Family, we have already talked about in part 1 also. I have told you how to answer part 1. But in part 3, you need to be more specific, more elaborate in your answer. So you need to speak more. Just, concentrate on that. For example, the question is family important in your country? Now, for some people, it might be, I'm sure for 99% people, or at least for 90% people, it would be important. But for many others, other relatives or other relations or friends or relationships might be important, equally important as well. So you can put up your answer according to your own opinion. Okay, there is no right or wrong answer in speaking. Always remember that. And then again, just end your answer with a beautiful example showing that how family is important or how other relationships are important if you're talking about them. So guys, that was all from my side. Now, if you have any questions, please do put it down on the comment section and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Today was the last class of IELTS speaking free Shiksha classes which we were going on with till now, and especially during this month. So yes, we are trying to come up with more fruitful classes, more engaging classes in the upcoming months. So do check out for that. And for that, you need to actually register with us so that, you do not miss out on any information which we are providing for free to our IELTS and TOEFL candidates. So yes, guys, I'll be seeing you again with a fresh new video soon. And till then, take care and keep revising for IELTS. And if you have any doubt, please put it down on the comment section. Even after this live video, we will come back to you as soon as possible and answer all your doubts. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your time and watching us live. And bye-bye. Take care.